Hello and a very warm welcome. Let's talk about Daniel Ricciardo and his 2021 season. Now, as usual, I give an honest, straightforward opinion. He is a fan's favourite, but let's put that to one side and let's have a look at his season as a whole. Daniel Ricciardo moved to McLaren. Yeah, bit strange. He left Red Bull. Kind of ironic, innit? Red Bull fighting for a championship. They've won the championship, and Daniel Ricciardo's become a journeyman. He really has become a journeyman of the paddock. Yeah, he's left Red Bull because obviously Max was number one. He wasted 2 years at Renault. Now he's come to McLaren. Oh, he'll be top dog in McLaren. I expected him to beat Lando Norris. He didn't do so. Straight away, he struggled to get to grips with a McLaren, as he did at Renault. And yeah, his season, we did season ratings. I gave him 1 for his season. And the reason I gave him 1 is purely for the Monza race win. Apart from that, he was absolutely awful. Awful. Yeah, he's a fan's favourite. He's a smiley guy, but the facts of the matter is, Daniel Ricciardo is going to be remembered for a happy-go-lucky chap, nice laugh, great banter. But the reality is, he isn't going to be known as an F1 world champion. Like I say, he's become a journeyman at the paddock. You're talking about George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Max. Ricciardo's not in the same breath anymore. Lando Norris. So Ricciardo comes in, he's a race winner, he's a proven winner in Formula 1. And he got absolutely done and dusted by Lando Norris. Norris had him every weekend almost. Just had him on a string, Lando Norris. Lando Norris finished on 160 points, Daniel Ricciardo 115. So let's do a quick maths of that. 45 points separates them. And Daniel Ricciardo's the more experienced man. And there's a big reason why McLaren did not finish third in the Constructors. And the reason is Daniel Ricciardo. Because if Daniel Ricciardo scores the same points as Lando Norris, it could have been a different story. Of course, Ferrari ended up on 323. Yeah, I've been massively disappointed with Daniel Ricciardo. And like I say, he's become a journeyman at the paddock. He won't be F1 world champion. And yeah, that's the facts of the matter. I think he's very overrated, is Daniel Ricciardo. Very overrated indeed. But because he's a fan's favourite, no one really tells the truth. Put the nice guy to one side. This is Formula 1. This is the pinnacle of motorsport. And he's fast wasting his career in Formula 1. He's a Grand Prix winner. He's a pole position man. He won at Monza. But, I mean, they had to imply team orders at Monza. He did a good job, Daniel Ricciardo, but if Norris was actually allowed to attack him, it would have been interesting to see if the result would have stood the same. Yeah. So, yeah, he's got a lot of fans out there. I wouldn't say I hate Daniel Ricciardo. I don't really hate him. I don't really like him, to be honest. I mean, he's just in the middle for me. Yeah. If I'm rating him, likeable, support him, he'd be, just mid out of all the drivers. He's had a shocking 2021 season. There's no getting away from it. Absolutely awful. Awful. Just poor. Absolutely dreadful. His high was the win at Monza. Yeah. It was an emotional moment to see McLaren win again. Was fantastic. One of my favourite moments of the season. But yeah, absolutely destroyed by Lando Norris. I don't think many people would have predicted that. Yeah. I thought Daniel Ricciardo would come in, cement his legacy in this McLaren team. But with Daniel Ricciardo, If again next season he gets done by Lando Norris, he'll be switching teams again. He's got no loyalty to these F1 teams. He starts 2011 Silverstone in the HRT. Then he goes to Toro Rosso, switches to Red Bull. Of course, you're going to switch if you get the promotion. Then leaves Red Bull because Max is number one. And then Red Bull go and win the championship this season, which is very ironic, really. Then he wastes 2 years at Renault. Like, what was the point in going to Renault? None at all, really. I mean, of course, financially, yes, but just wasted 2 years at Renault. And then he's come to McLaren, and hopefully McLaren can get back to winning regular races on a regular basis, championships. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next for Daniel Ricciardo. He's got to come out fighting in 2022, stamp his authority down on the team, beat Lando Norris with ease. Like, honestly, he's got to assert he's got to be better in 22. He's up there with Mazepin, Tsunoda for a terrible, terrible season. I can't be the only one that thinks like this. Of course, if you're a Daniel Ricciardo fan, you're going to think I'm hating on the guy. Not at all. I give an honest, straightforward opinion. Yes, he's a nice guy, but his season, as a whole, was shocking. And the pundits don't call it out. Of course, it just goes under the radar because he's a nice guy. We don't want to upset Daniel Ricciardo because he's a nice guy. Fuck that, man. It's about results. And for me, I've been hugely, not even fairly disappointed, hugely disappointed with Daniel Ricciardo. For me, he should be beating Lando Norris. Not taking anything away from Norris, but Ricciardo, as a Grand Prix winner, he should be beating Norris. And I honestly believe that. I've said it before in previous videos. Daniel Ricciardo will not be an F1 world champion, and he is massively overrated. Probably the most overrated driver in Formula 1. There's no splinters in my arse because I don't sit on the fence. I give an honest, straightforward opinion, and I stand by that. If he does become world champion, I'm going to look like an idiot, but it's what it is. There's no point sitting on the fence like you've got these Sky F1 pundits. They don't like to talk badly about the drivers because it's all mates rates in the paddock, best buddies. Yeah, you got to tell it straight. Daniel Ricciardo's 2021 season was below par. Shocking. In my view, absolutely awful. The only high I can take from a Daniel Ricciardo 2021 season is he won a race. Apart from that, it was poor. Comment down below your thoughts. And like I always say, sport's about opinion. I know Ricciardo's got his massive fans out there, but like I say, I don't sit on the fence. I say it how I see it. And that's how I see it. His season was dreadful. Not up to par. Below standard. And even Seidel and Zach Brown was not happy with Ricciardo, like mid-season. They were actually saying, look, Daniel needs to get his act together, basically. There's a good driver in there with Daniel Ricciardo. There's a very good driver in there. But he needs to come out fighting in 22. Like I say, he is fast becoming a journeyman of Formula 1.